What is going on, NASCAR Canada family? Hey, hope you guys are all doing well, staying safe and all in the midst of this whole virus ordeal. I have got some news for you. I will not be returning to the track in 2020, whenever it is that racing finally begins again, right? As my company has grown, so have my obligations and my time commitments. And even in the last year, it was a real struggle for me to maintain all those and maintain sanity and try to get some sleep. I was just completely worn out, and I really feel like it was God telling me it's time to step away from that type of ministry for a little bit. Hopefully one day I'll step back into it, but for right now, that's where I have to be. Here's the good news. We are replacing me with a veteran. So his name is Tim Griffin. He is the current Dean of Students and University Pastor at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. How he relates to you, though, is he was formerly working for Motor Racing Outreach, 12 years in it, actually. He worked in Supercross, Motocross, Superbikes, but also spent many years as the chaplain for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. So I think it's safe to say he knows his way around the track, yeah? And I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank you for your friendship. I thank you for your crazy level of trust in me, for letting me stay in your homes, and for making me feel just like such a close member of your family. Love you guys. What's going on, Tim? How are you?
Doing great. Yep.
You're over there in warm, sunny Phoenix, yeah?
Yeah, I am. It's going to be 84 today and 98 by Friday. So the spring, or what we call winter, is pretty much over.
Goodness gracious. Well, obviously, you and I are talking because of the NASCAR Canada community and what the transition is that's happening there. Talk a little bit about your experience. You're currently the Dean of Student Affairs and a university pastor, but you've how you relate to this community is that you've got a lot of experience with not just MRO, but you were the chaplain for the NASCAR Cup Series.
5 years as a NASCAR Cup guy.
Okay.
And about 6 years I was with two motorcycle series, Superbike, and before that, Supercross, Motocross.
Awesome. So you obviously you know you know what's going on in the garage and all, the things that people in motorsports go through and deal with and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was a great chapter in life. I was pastoring churches in Southern California and really didn't know a lot about the world of motorsports and how it functioned and how people lived within that world. And then I started leading some Bible studies with a bunch of racers. Started out while I was pastoring churches and started with some boat racers and then some motorcycle racers. And I didn't know that these guys were all factory riders and they were big names in the sport. I just didn't know them.
Yeah.
And found out that they were some great people.
Yeah.
That really love the Lord and were really trying to figure out how to be successful as a professional motorcycle racer, but also how to integrate faith into their life experience. And so I got involved doing some Bible studies, some home Bible studies, baptizing people in pools and jacuzzis at their home.
Jacuzzis?
Oh, yeah. It was so cool. And I really didn't know much about their world, but they all worked on the weekends. I mean, they just couldn't go to church. And
right.
So I got invited to be kind of like a one-off pastor for the weekend or whatever at different race events. And then I started learning more and more about it. And it was like, man, this is a great group of people. Just the way that they lived, and they all grew up at the track or the lake or the desert, wherever they were learning their sport.
Yeah.
And they had a real sense of community, and they really it took me a while. And I later learned why. It took me a while to kind of break in.
Mm-hmm.
But once you kind of cross the line and you're a part of the community, man, it was a great experience in all three of those communities.
Yeah, they kind of make you one of their own.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Family, the part of the traveling circus.
Yes, it was that for sure.
Yeah, awesome. So you and I were just talking a little bit ago about kind of the plan moving forward for the NASCAR Canada Series. And at the moment, it's, you are committing to be at the track and, provide spiritual support and do the hangout ministry
Yes.
with those people. And also, while we are attempting to also bring somebody in to eventually take on that spot in a more permanent fashion, who actually hopefully will be from the actual Toronto area, which will be different for the community. Matter of fact, before me, Sammy Cleary, they'll remember that name. He was from Charlotte, so he was traveling from way down yonder, going all the way up to Canada all the time. Then we have me, Chicago, still in the States, traveling up to Canada. Nothing wrong with that per se, but how cool is that to have eventually the dream of somebody who is literally a native of their area, their Charlotte.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Be a part of their community.
I've got really two great friends. This is before I even looked at the schedule. One that lives in Vancouver on the west side, and a guy that pastors in Toronto. So I called them both and I said, hey, there's this opportunity here, and I'm going to need to know some local folks. So the friend of mine that pastors in Toronto had a guy that he thought would be ideal for it. So we haven't met yet. We're going to have a conversation hopefully soon as we hear when they're going to go racing.
Yeah, our first race is postponed already.
So once that's on the schedule, then we'll get together and meet up at the track and just get acquainted and see how it goes from there.
Awesome. Well, I know you expressed you can't wait to meet these folks. That MRO label that I've worn on my shirt, you have been deeply ingrained in. So.
Yeah, MRO means a lot to me. They've been a great organization for many, many years and have really loved and supported race communities really around the world.
Yeah.
And I have been really grateful for the experience I had while I worked with them those 12 years, and will continue to do whatever I can to support them. So when Billy reached out to me and introduced me to you, I thought, hey, I'll do whatever I can to help the organization, but more importantly, that race community that's grown accustomed to having a guy like you involved with them, that would love and support them as they were away from home, competing at the track, dealing with all the challenges that come along with that.
Yeah.
And I know how important that is to a race community. And so, if I can come alongside of what you've already invested in that community and support them and help them find the next guy that will be a great support to them, then, so be it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me on this Zoom call.
My pleasure.